All right, welcome my first guest, Ryan Hawks from Athletic Culture. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to be on here. I'm excited for you, and I can't believe how good your setup looks. I'm excited for you, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, it's a setup with that I share with my Twitch stream anyway, so it's
yeah.
I
It
pretty
looks gonna
much have
look
half the
good.
battle gone.
Yeah, it's
What's
gonna look good.
Thanks, man. Um, so tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah. So I grew up in a very small town in the East Coast, like a very, very small town. I've been in Barrie now for 8 years. I was a personal trainer for 15 years, competitive bodybuilder for 10 years. And 4 years ago, I started the design for the gym that Andrew goes to, which is called Athletic Culture, a 23,000 square foot facility. We're a high end fitness and wellness facility. I had to raise millions of dollars in capital to be able to do that from other investors. So it was a very entrepreneurial experience, a very stressful experience, and a humbling experience. But it was definitely the most rewarding thing I've done in my life. I also own a company called Elements Food Corporation, which we just launched, which is a pre-made meal service that you can order straight to your house all across Simcoe. And we'll also be doing it all across Ontario. So that's kind of where I stand with my life. I guess I would consider myself, you know, well versed in the fitness world and the wellness world, and an entrepreneur at this point in my life. So that's a little bit about me and where I'm at. And I know you as a member at Athletic Culture, and I'm grateful you're here.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's a really good establishment, man. It's beautiful, and a great place to work out too.
Yeah,
How long did it take for you to get Athletic Culture going, up and running and stuff?
longer than it needed to.
Yeah,
So 4 years ago, you know how it started, man. It's actually an interesting story, and it's not to sound douchey, but it's an inspirational story because it started just like how most people start, but then they quit. So I was personal training out of another gym local here in Barrie, and out of frustration, I always want first. Let me back up. First of all, I always wanted to do the gym. I always wanted to build it. I had a vision. I knew what I wanted it to be like. I just hadn't pulled the trigger because my life was comfortable, as easy. I was making a lot of money. I had a great business. I had trainers underneath me. I had no reason to pull the trigger because life was just good enough that it was more that mentality is I'll do it someday, right? I'll do it someday.
yeah.
But I got so frustrated with the situation of where I was at in the gym that I was in that I came home and I said to my girlfriend that I'm still with now, I'm going to design and build a gym, and I'm going to do this. So she kind of just, yeah, cool. And I went in the room, grabbed a pen and a piece of paper, and I started writing down what it would be. And that's what you're inside now. That's how it started. I still have the notepad. It was just
Yeah,
a bunch
that's
of
crazy.
notes. And that's
That's
how it
crazy. That's
started.
what you do.
And then it went to, okay, like what would I design the building like? I picked out all the equipment. I had to start looking at, like, I had to have everything. How much is the cost of construction? How much is the cost of equipment? How much will the towels cost us monthly? The natural gas, the power, the water, like employees, payrolls, insurances. Like I had to figure out all that stuff and
Mhm.
then come up with the branding and then the whole pitch deck and the business plan of being able to ask people for millions of dollars to be able to give me, can you imagine giving me
Yeah,
millions of dollars? You're going to want to know, well, where the fuck is my money going, right?
yeah, no shit.
So that was the whole process. So from the start to where we're at now has been 4 years. So quite a journey, man. But the construction itself was 2 years from when I actually got the money and started building it. And that was 2 years ago. And now we've been open for 11 weeks. So in a pandemic, man, we finished
Yeah,
it.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I said, like for me, like I've been open, I think 2.5 years now, just with Hellfire,
Yeah.
and going through the pandemic now. Thankfully, our landlord and stuff like that was really good through this whole ordeal of
Yeah.
shit with the rent and all that other shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
awesome. What's you got any future plans or anything for
I
Athletic?
do. I do. Yeah. So when I originally, you'll get to know this about me, but an overachiever and a huge dreamer.
Yeah,
I basically, again, not sound conceited in any way. I've always believed anything that I feel like I can do, I'm going to be able to do it. And I proved that to myself multiple times. So when I set out on the journey, the goal was to do 100 locations across Canada. So when
wow.
in my business plan, it was to do 100 locations. Now, demographically, geographically, financially, I don't have a set structure of how that's going to go. I do
Yeah,
know I want to obviously maximize Ontario and then head all the way out west to Vancouver and then start to work my way back to Ontario and then head to the East Coast after that. But to be honest with you, I see Athletic Culture as the largest franchise in the world, in the fitness world, at some point over the next 20 years. And I say that with confidence. I don't say that with arrogance. I
yeah,
don't think we're better than the next person. We're a unique brand. We're new. We're fresh. We're 2020 up. You see it in the colors. You see it in the branding. You see it in the equipment. And I know it's totally capable. I'm not capable of doing it myself. I have to surround myself with the right people. But yeah, the future plans for athletic culture, I have multiple plans for myself, a lot more than just that. But with athletic cultures, to grow it to the largest in Canada, and then eventually take it global, go global with it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like I said, and like you said, I'm obviously a member there, and I've been in other gyms. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but out of pretty much every gym I've been into, it's you got your shit together, man, and it's awesome. And I actually look forward, to going to work out and stuff now. It actually it's good, and the environment there, the people there, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a good
and that's what
environment,
it's
man.
about, right? That's the best part. It's the same as you with tattooing, or anybody that's listening to this podcast, whether you're a writer, you work with clay, you do tattoos, you create movies. When you do something and somebody else's life benefits from it and they enjoy what you've created, it's the greatest feeling in the world, man. Because like it's
Yeah,
even though you should just love it because you did something good, it's just nice to know that other people are enjoying the product of what you created. So I
yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah.
yeah. No, that's awesome, man. So tattoos. I've been working with you on a couple projects. Obviously, we're
Yeah,
starting at square one,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's been great. It's been fun. It's
yeah,
awesome.
it has.
Shooting the shit.
Yeah,
You get to see what my shop's like and what my
yeah,
environment's like. Being in the
exactly.
shop.
Yeah,
My artists and everything else. It's fun, man, and it's been a pleasure so far for sure. And I look
yeah,
forward to doing more.
yeah,
Um, so tell us, tell me, well, obviously I know, but, tell everybody that's going to
yeah.
be watching this about your little journey with your tattoos so far, man.
Bro, I kind of feel like my story with tattoos are probably, to the average person, is probably quite, that's had tattoos, it's probably the same story. I'm sure everybody, a lot of people out there with tattoos. Well, tattoos have come a long way in the last 10 years. Like in the
Yeah.
last 20 years, I mean, it's astronomical how fucking far your guys' industry has come. Over
Yeah.
the last 10 years, like since like Miami Inked and all that stuff come out, like that made it kind of mainstream, right? Which in my opinion, that's when all of a sudden like investors started looking at this as a business versus to just being art. So you got new ink, you got new guns, you got, now cops have tattoos, you got people working at the bank, there's doctors that have them. So now there's a whole culture around it, where before it was like, oh, you had to be a biker or a tattoo artist or a gangster of some sort to have tattoos, right? And now it's kind of accepted. So the quality was there. So when I first started I got my first tattoo on my back, which is a set of wings, which we're going to be covering up at some point,
Yeah.
was represent my last name's Hawk. So obviously I kind of thought at the time it was cool. And
Yeah.
I was like 170 pounds. So they actually went the whole way across my back. And then I got so big now, if I was a bird, I definitely wouldn't fly. We could put it that way. The wings are so tall. So I got that. And then I ended up with the tribal that we're covering up. And the tribal was supposed to represent, they're called shoulder spalders, because my heritage is from Saxon Anglophone and also like Icelandic background.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be like shoulder armor. Well, never really fucking looked like that. And when I got it on it, I'll be honest, like by the time I finished the tattoo, I was like, I think I made a mistake. Right. And we did
Yeah.
it in 2 days. We did like, I think it was like 10 hours. I set one day, went back the next day. I set like 8 hours on the
That's
other.
fucking, dude, that's
Yeah.
ballsy. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
that's ballsy. I mean, I think the longest I sat actually tattooing somebody was fucking probably just over 15 hours. And
Yeah.
it was tribal too. It was on this guy's back. This is going back like 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And shit, man, the guy was hurting, but obviously lack of experience back then on my end too, right? Because it's when I first started. But that's
that's
nuts.
your hands are shaking, you're sweating, obviously your body. Well, I mean, it's trauma, right? Like that's
Oh
a
yeah,
long
fuck yeah.
time, like, to sit there, and no matter, you can act as if you're like, you can pretend, oh, I'm tough, I'm badass. So there's no way anybody gets a tattoo who's like, yeah, that felt fucking great.
You know what? Like obviously I've got a lot of tattoos. I mean, my chest, I think, was 13 and a half hours one sitting. It starts off as a mental thing, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
people, when they get tattooed or going in to get tattooed, me still, like I'm going to get my head tattooed tomorrow. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm fucking hating my life right now and I don't want to go do it, but I have
Yeah.
to, right?
You got to do
But it starts off as a mental thing. And then as you actually keep getting tattooed and stuff like that, it's the mental thing kind of goes away. And then it's just like, you know what, fuck me, this kind of hurts. And then
Yeah.
it's just, again, the mental thing kicks back in and it's more or less like, fourth hour, fifth hour, sixth hour, your body's basically saying, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm hurting. It's time to fucking tap. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I think that's something that's, I mean, I think getting a lot of tattoos done can be a representation of setting pace for yourself in life with a lot of things. Maybe you're building a business, you're trying to get fit, you're trying to raise children, you're working on your relationship or going to school. Like it's great to have insane work ethic and to be a tough son of a bitch and to really push through things. But I think it's there's a representation that you know that you could get a message across to people that you don't you've got to do the work you got to do, but there's a certain point where it's okay to pull the plug on things. And I mean, that's, you don't have to sit for 10 hours to get a tattoo. You got your whole fucking life to do it, right? Don't be that badass that I'm going to sit here for, if it means the quality of the tattoo is not going to be as good and the experience is horrible.
Well, you know what, man? Like, I actually go through this all the time, and every tattoo artist out there knows exactly, about this when I say this is people that are like clients, right? They want their sleeve done and they want it fucking now, and there's the odd person that understands us, obviously, right off the get-go is, time, and progression. But majority of people come in summertime, springtime, and they want their fucking sleeve now. They're like, yeah, you know what, I'll sit for fucking 20 hours and this and that, and I'll come in the next day and stuff. That's totally cool. Again, I've been to tattoo conventions and I watch guys get their backs done in 3 days, right? There's a 3-day convention. Day 1 they start, day 3 they finish. But for the most part, man, it's as an artist, I don't like to be rushed. I don't like to be put under that pressure. Only sometimes, if I feel like, you know what, let's give let's let this tattoo kick me in the ass, and let's fucking do this over, a 3-day span. Only sometimes. But I like to pace things out as an artist and stuff, right? But again, it depends on the project. You know what I mean?
100%.
Again, like with you, for example, with your arm that I've been covering up. I hate leaving shit unfinished. Like, I know that we had to, because it was such a big sitting, and then the top of your shoulder was poking out, and it fucking bugged me probably just as much as it bugged you. And so I was super stoked for the second sitting to get that shit done, man. And now the cover up's done, but we're still left at that loose end, and it's,
I know there's still a lot to do, right? And I can honestly say that I'm the same. Like, I want my sleeves done right away, because obviously it's not just about having the tattoo done. I want to get the cover up done. I want it to be complete. I don't want the open gaps. And I have a vision in my head of what I want it to look like. And until it's really finished, it's kind of like you can't really enjoy the piece because there's just so many missing parts. So, but I mean, that's part of the thing. And I mean, I've lived for 4 years, 3 years I've been doing the removal. So let's tell them that story, right? We kind of organically got off topic on that, but
that's a good thing.
Had them for 7 years. Didn't enjoy them. Right around the time that I got them, I had just started competing in bodybuilding. Didn't think I was going to go as far as I ended up going with it. Did really well with it. The tattoos obviously affected me for the look of my physique. And I just had a negative feeling towards them, even when before I started doing the removal. And then once I started doing the laser removal, it got even worse because they were just faded. It almost looked like they were just horribly done,
Yeah. They get blotchy and shit.
Oh, so bad, man. It was just, so I'm very grateful to have you doing the cover up now. But I think there was a good lesson in it for me too, and just being okay with not looking the way that I want to. Because a lot of people do that. People have scars on their face. People have burnt skin. People have defects that they have to live with, right? So for me, I'm on a mission to become the greatest man that I can, financially, spiritually, relationship wise, business owner wise, as a leader. I just want to be a good human and a good person. I'm trying to max out everything in my life. And for me to be able to relate with people that don't have life the way as lucky as I've been in life, maybe that was a good thing for me to humble me a bit, right? And kind of let me know what it feels like to not look the way that you want to look. So I think there's a good lesson in that for me. But the whole experience of it was, I didn't enjoy it from really a few days after I got them. I kind of tried to convince myself that I really liked it. The art moved so fast I got it 10 years ago, right? And it wasn't much more than after that when ink just started getting really, really good, and you started seeing people show up with like crazy detailed, high quality tattoos. And I'm like looking at this tribal thinking, what the fuck did I do? Lived with that for so long. And then I did the research. I was like, okay, I'm going to start I went to a tattoo company shop in Toronto and said, I want to get some removal done and get cover-ups done. I took off my shirt, and the guy goes like this. He's like, oh my God. Turned around. He's like, I can't even look at it. It's so bad. And I had to laugh at it because I kind of felt the same way. And he's like, you're going to have to get a certain amount of removal done. So the next week I went and did some research, found out that the PicoSure was the best the best type of laser. There's a place in Barrie called Advanced Laser I went to. They're really good people. I may have overpaid for it now looking back at it. I did 4 treatments in total. with about the first two was like 6 months in between. So that's one thing I recommend people. Don't keep going back and doing your laser over and over. It's unbelievable when you sit for 6 months, it keeps fading after 3 or 4 months. Like it
Oh yeah,
pulls
absolutely.
faster and faster. You see people do it every 3 months and you can do that. But for me, like you see how it faded. You guys, if you go back and look at the photos Andrew's posted, I mean, I got a lot of fading done by waiting in between those sessions. When they recommended you'd have to do 7 or 8, I got away with doing 4. And because I extended it over a period of time, it's been a year since the last removal, so it's well healed. And I mean, it's unbelievable how well you've done with the cover up. So
Thanks,
anybody
man.
that's discouraged with a piece, go look at the photos on Andrew's page or my page, the Ryan Hawks, or the underscore Ryan Hawks on Instagram. You'll see the before and after, and you'll see how big it was on my arm and how dark it was and what we've been able to do with it. So if you have something you want to cover up, it's unbelievable the quality of what you can do over top of it. So
Yeah, man. And you know what? Like I've like me having Instagram and me being in the industry that I'm in, you know, I follow a lot of artists as well of different statures or whatever. But man, the amount of shit that I see people covering up, whether it's good or bad,
yeah,
the bad ones, I'm kind of like, man, whatever.
yeah,
And sometimes people think that about my work, maybe. I don't know. I don't like
yeah,
whatever. It is what it is. It comes with the territory. But I see a lot of artists, man, that can cover up a lot of big shit, man. And actually
yeah,
it inspires me because being almost 15 years into the game now, I feel like I don't want to do cover ups and stuff all the time and this and that, right? I always want fresh skin. What artist doesn't, right? They want to put their art on a fresh piece of skin. It's just the way it goes. But
exactly.
again, that aside, when I do see some of these projects that artists are pulling off, it's like holy shit, and it
Yeah,
inspires me, and I'm like, okay, fuck, when am I going to get my next cover up, and
yeah,
it's crazy. Like I'm covered in shitty fucking tattoos as well. I got some really great ones by some really good artists, and
yeah.
being a tattoo artist, we're usually covered in a lot of shit for the
Of
most
course,
part.
you've been in the industry for so long, right?
Yeah.
Since the tattoo guns weren't as good, the ink wasn't as good, the quality wasn't as good, and
Yeah, and
so
I've never had removal done, so I have zero fucking knowledge.
and
I've never had anything removed. Everything's like, hey man,
yeah,
can you cover this one up, and cover it up again, and you
yeah,
know every fucking time, every artist is like, god damn
yeah,
it, right? That's like you said when you went into that, the place, the shop in Toronto or whatever, and the guy starts fucking laughing. He's like, that's what we do. We're like, holy fuck, like,
exactly,
because
exactly.
we're seeing it, and then we're like, you got a customer asking to cover it up, and right away we're kind of like, fuck my life,
Yeah.
but
And you can't blame an artist for wanting fresh canvas. I mean, who wants to draw on a piece of paper that has fucking marks all over it? You're trying to,
yeah,
it's a mess, right? But at
yeah,
the same time, if you have the talent and the ability to do it, now you're not probably going to want to do every cover up because it's just the cover up that they want might not even be your ideal work, right?
yeah,
But if you have the power, man, you hold a lot of power to be able to take somebody that has something they really don't like on their body, and then to be able to help them put something new there that they appreciate, that they love, and that they actually want to wear proudly. That's a huge amount of value that you can give somebody back to their life. So being willing, I think most artists, anybody that has the capability of doing it, not saying you should do every cover up, but if you do have the ability to do it, I think artists should offer it more, because as long as it's the right piece and the right person that you want to cover up for and you're capable of doing it, I think
yeah.
it's something that you should incrementally put into your schedule, because you're changing people's lives with that, man. People that's lived a long time. And that's coming from personal experience, obviously. So I'm very
Yeah.
grateful. Very grateful.
Yeah, fuck, no worries, man. And like, how's it? Like, you're happy with everything so far? Obviously, you
Very
told
happy,
me.
man.
And
Very happy. Oh, the clock at the top. Anybody that goes back and sees the picture,
yeah,
the way it all ties in now that I look at it, because we had a bit of a plan, but it's been very embryonic and moving. Our plan has, because obviously we had to place the Zeus over top of it, how that was going to look, and then we added everything into it, and then with it's almost looks now like we had like a solid plan the whole way through. So I'm very happy with it, man, and I can't wait to finish
good.
all the pieces. And I have more confidence in your work now from seeing what you've done, that it's exciting for me for us to go. I think we're on the 11th. We're booked again to start on this side, so I'm
Yeah, I'd
very
have to check my
excited.
schedule. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fuck,
yeah, it's
I
the
get
11th.
so many damn appointments.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Just
it's the
yeah,
11th.
man.
So I'm excited to get that done too.
Good, man. So being in the field that you're in, like being an entrepreneur and a businessman and business owner, all that other shit. How, like, I know it's very cliche to say this or ask this, but how do you think tattoos have affected you with your business and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's like anything, right? So we live in people are judgmental. The old saying goes, you judge a book, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but everybody
Yeah.
does, right? But honestly, if you're well versed, you're well spoken, and you're a good person, people do not give a fuck about tattoos. They don't care about nose rings. They don't care about earrings. They don't care about the color of your skin or what. If you're a good person and you're well spoken and you've got passion and you've got energy and you're showing up every day and you're a hard worker, people will see past all that, and people will overcome it, especially when you speak to them. But yeah, I think that we're in a point now where, obviously, like with you, where you have tattoos on your head, to an average person, they're going to look at that and automatically judge you because they don't know you're an
Yeah.
artist, right?
Yeah.
They're going to think, oh, that guy, whatever it is, like they think that you have a rough background or you're dangerous or they're intimidated by you. And then once they speak to you, they feel guilty for thinking that way about you. So I think that we're always going to be in a world where people are going to judge you for having something that's different, whether it's artwork on your skin, the way you dress, how you cut your hair, how you speak. That's always going to affect you. But I would never let it discourage me from putting something on my body that I want to use to express myself or a certain way that I want to look, because I'm worried that I might not get the placing that I want, or I might not get the loan that I want, or I might not get the business partner. Because at the end of the day, if you're the right person, good people are going to be attracted to you, and good people are going to want to work with you, and good people are going to want to be in relationships with you and businesships with you just because of who you are. Everybody's is in the entrepreneurial and business world. We're all trying to move the ball forward, and investors, banks, all those things. I've learned over time that people invest in the jockey, not the horse, right? So I would never let it discourage me from putting it on my skin, thinking that I might not get the upper hand that I want, or the respect that I want, or the attention that I want from other individuals. I think you can overcome that with just being an excellent human. So
Yeah,
I
no, it's a
think,
good point. Like
yeah,
I've been dealing with this forever. A lot of us
yeah,
have, a lot of people who have tattoos, a lot of artists, collectors, whoever,
yeah,
just people that have tattoos,
yeah,
especially like you said, me with having them on my face and my head, neck, and hands and all that shit, right? You know, people do look at you, a little different, but it just comes with the territory.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
it doesn't make you a bad person or whatever, but
But I mean, you can look at
everybody's
that
different.
anyway, right? You could look and see someone dressed a certain way, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're wearing their pants low, or they're wearing some type of clothing, and certain people automatically
I
are going
went
to,
through that phase too, back in
yeah,
the fucking
right?
90s, bud.
Hat on sideways, they're automatically going to judge you
Yeah.
on that, or you talk a certain way, or you dress a certain way, you got tattoos, or just anything that you do, people are automatically, that's not straight line down the norm. People
Yeah.
are going to judge that. But I think we're getting farther and farther away from that because we're such a mixed culture in the Western world, in Canada especially. Uh,
Mhm.
you have so many different cultures. Tattoos now become, I mean, so mainstream. Everybody has them, to the point where sometimes when you used to get tattoos, you used to think, oh, like, I'm different. Now it's like, it's almost like you're different if you don't have tattoos. So
Pretty much, eh? Fuck,
yeah,
it's the norm now to have tattoos almost.
it is the norm, right? But it's like, it's funny, like, okay, he's got tattoos on his arms. That's normal. Then you tattoo here and it's like, oh, like all of a sudden they're
Yeah.
going to start to judge you on that, because that isn't normal yet to have a neck tattoo, even though, well, it's starting to become normal, but not as normal, right? So I think
Yeah.
you're always going to have to overcome those hurdles. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay to have people judge you, and to expect people to just accept you without you speaking up and letting them know who you are as a person. To just have everybody just accept you. It's like, yeah, that would be a perfect world, but that's never going to exist. People are always going to judge you. There's always going to be hurdles you have to get over. People are going to treat you unfairly. People are going to say things about you. And I think that's a good testament to your character, to just be like, I wear this proudly. I'm a good person. It has nothing to do with my personality or how I interact with the world. And I'm
Yeah.
going to shine through this anyway. So I got a fucking face tattoo. And I'm going to wear it
It's
proudly.
a
And I'm
bold
gonna be a good
statement, bud.
person. Yeah.
It's a bold fucking statement.
It's a
Like
bold
even
statement.
going to the gym, man. Like your gym, other facilities I've worked out at. People
Yeah.
fucking, they look at me, they're like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah.
It's a statement. But again, once you talk to me, you either think I'm an asshole or you think I'm a good dude.
Yeah. There's
Whatever, right?
stereotypes with everything, right? Like when I was a 270-pound bodybuilder. I don't know if you've ever seen photos, but
Yeah, I creeped your Facebook a little bit because I was actually looking at the old tattoos on the arms.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I was blown out, right? Like obviously I was on performance enhancements. I was doing everything I could to try to become a pro bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I was fucking large. My legs were 32 inches around. My arms were 20 inches.
Yeah, you're not a small human.
It wasn't 3XL. You walk down an aisle in a grocery store, or you walk up in a gas station, people look at you like they automatically just stereotype you that you're a meathead, or that you're a juice monkey, or
A juice
you're
monkey
not
or something, yeah.
or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
I've been used to dealing with that for 10 years, and now I'm more of a normal sized human. I'm 230 pounds. I'm not obviously a little bit bigger than the normal human, but nobody looks at me that way now. But I dealt with that for so long, and I always overcome it with a smile and a, hey, how's your day? And then
Yeah.
they look on their face like, oh, he is a nice person. And all of a sudden you can tell they feel guilty for treating you that way, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's overcomable, and people like uniqueness. People like individuality, the way you dress, the way you talk, how you carry yourself. And I think people are looking to have that in their life. It's just when it's not normal, it's hard for them to automatically get it, right? So I think it's up to us. If you want to be unique, and you want to stand out, and you express yourself differently with tattoos or with clothing, I think it's our responsibility to reach out to those people and welcome them to say, hey, like, let's be friends, or let's communicate, let's say hi. And I
Yeah.
think a smile and a hello goes a long fucking way with anybody, right?
Yeah, I know. I remember when I opened the shop, myself and my business partner, we opened beside another store, and they are religious, I guess, or some
Yeah.
kind of charity store, whatever, Catholic, Christian, whatever the fuck it is. I'm not religious at all, so obviously, as you can tell. But I guess they had a customer that was going there all the time, an older person, this and that. Actually, I don't know if you read it on the wall when you were there last time, but it's right above my front counter on the wall. It's a letter from a client. Long story short, basically fucking, ripping us a new asshole, and we're going to hell for being, tattoo or covered in tattoos, and tattoos are the fucking devil, and like all this
Yeah.
other shit. And the name of my shop is Hellfire, right?
Yeah.
So actually, my wife, she went over that day and told us about this letter, and we came back, told me, and I went over there. Myself and my business partner went over there and asked the owner, said, "Hey, where's this note, this letter?" And she's like, "Oh, well, it's right here." I'm like, "Thanks, I'm going to take it. Now, do you have any picture frames here?" So, and she was like, "What, for what?" And I said, "Well, we're going to fucking frame this thing. We're going to put it on our fucking walls." You know what I mean? So it was,
Yeah.
again, one of those things where this fucking old bat, whoever this religious person, was basically shaming us for being,
Yeah.
tattoos, right? You know what I mean? Like we're the fucking devil, and
The devil, yeah.
but we're we can be fucking dicks, but we're also some of the nicest fucking guys you'll ever meet, guys and girls, like, very kind-hearted. My artists, very kind-hearted people, man. And it's crazy, and you'll never really know unless you talk to us, right? Again, same goes for anything, right? Somebody dressing with their fucking pants hanging past their ass or whatever, right? They got, doesn't matter, right? It's,
Yeah, there's a great lesson in that story you just told too, just in the fact that, like, even from that lady, you could show frustration towards them, but their perception of the world they grew up in and what they were taught growing up,
yeah,
like I'll explain that. There's a story, I can't remember the name of the guy. He's a Navy SEAL, but he was just on a podcast not long ago, and he was telling the story about when he was in Afghanistan, how he had to kill a guy with a rock. He had one of his partners that he was shooting with, or like at war with, was down, and he was trying to help him up, and a guy jumped on his back, and he lost his gun, and they were wrestling, and he finally got the guy down on the ground, and the guy had a knife, and he used a rock to beat the guy to death. And he said this other Afghan soldier was looking me in the eye when I was taking the life out of him, and he said, I realized at that point that guy did not think he was in the wrong trying to kill me. Like, he was just,
well, he's got a job to do, right?
got a job to do. He was raised with a certain belief, whether it's your religion or how your country, whatever it is. And neither one of those men were wrong for what they were doing. And just like that lady that was judging her wrote a letter, even though I would disagree with her opinion, it's like, that's her perception of the world. And until other people are willing to look at other perceptions, and I mean, everything we're going with in the world right now, politically, and all the stuff that's going on with the lockdowns, it's the same thing. When I have my side of where I think that we should go, and someone else expresses a different opinion, I respect it, because they don't think it's not like in their mind, they're like, I'm wrong, but I'm still going to try to prove this point. It's like, no, they think they're right. So people are always going to have different perceptions. They're always going to see the world different. There's always going to be the black and white. And I think it's important that we always accept that, especially like trying to be unique or trying to do something different. you're always going to have hecklers. You're always going to have finger pointing and
Well,
and
it's the generation too, right? She's obviously an older lady,
yeah,
you know, so it's the generation they come from as well. Like my dad, fuck, he's up there in age too, man. He's an old boy too, and again, he's part of that generation, but he's got tattoos as well. And you
yeah,
know, before I became an artist, he had, you know, old tattoos. He had a little Playboy bunny on his hand and all this
yeah,
other shit, right? A pinup
yeah,
girl on his fucking arm,
yeah,
military, right? Like army or whatever,
yeah,
you know. So I guess even though, you know, different generation, it's the same as now, right? Like this generation we have now, we got people that are into tattoos, and you know, people that are not, people that are against it, people that don't give a fuck if you have them, you know, whether they have them or not. You know, it's crazy. But
I think that the majority of humans, at the end of the day, once you communicate with them, are always going to be on the side of acceptance.
yeah,
Most topics, unless you're hurting other people, right? I think
yeah,
that's kind of the culture that we're in now, especially with like the millennial culture is very accepting and tolerant of so many different things, and
yeah,
I think that's a good thing, right? At the end of the day, I will judge you, and the only thing I'll ever judge you on is how you treat other people and how you treat me, right? And
yeah.
even then, I'm gonna always chalk it up to that. You don't know what that person's life's like or what their day is like. They could have just lost a loved one. They could have just lost their job. They could have been
Dude,
abused. You just
yeah,
don't
man.
know. So
You know, it's fucked up because you see this shit on social media, right? Like little, like just little memes or whatever the fuck it is about shit
yeah,
like that, right? You know, you never know what somebody's going through, and it's crazy because you don't think this stuff on a daily basis until you're reminded. Myself, anyway, this is how I feel.
yeah,
You know, like I don't ever think of this shit until I'm reminded by, say, what you just said or a social media post being like, you know, hey, you never know what this fucking person's going through. You know, don't judge this person. You
yeah,
know, like I said the other day, I actually made a post on socials about, you know, basically fat shaming somebody, right? If somebody's overweight or whatever and they're at the gym, and if I, you know, basically if I see somebody fucking teasing them or laughing at them, you're getting a fucking lunchbox the side of your fucking bean. You know what I mean? Like you can't do that shit, you know, and you don't know you don't know everybody's story. You don't know the story behind anything, right?
especially when someone's trying to get better, man. Like
Yeah,
whatever it
that's
is,
it.
but if you're trying to learn to read, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to become a public speaker, you're trying to start a business. If it's something new, you're gonna look foolish doing it. You're gonna look silly. You're gonna make mistakes. Like
Hey, but you know what?
never,
That person's there putting in an effort.
yeah, you
You know,
pat
that
that person
person's there.
back and support them, man, because they're trying to move forward as a human and whatever facet that's in you. When people are trying to do something, it's but that's just human nature, right? You're always going to judge somebody until they're good at something. It's
Yeah, I
I
know
don't.
it's tough not to, right?
It is. It
Yeah,
is. And
it's how your upbringing is too, I think.
it is. Yeah. Like I work on a daily basis. I practice stoicism, and
Yeah,
I think a lot of humans in general could benefit from it, but especially young men coming up. I think we have a generation of lost young men that don't know what they should be doing with their time, and that's a big part of it. Is in part of stoicism is never really getting upset with people. It's not about losing your emotions; it's about domesticating them. So never getting angry or too sad about something, and understanding
yeah,
anything that really happens is meant to happen through nature, and that most people that say bad things or do bad things, they're just coming from an angry spot or a bad day, or just in general they've had a bad life, and you can get upset at them, but it really doesn't. Like if somebody says to you, I don't like the tattoo on the side of your head, well, what, it doesn't really affect you. It's never going to hurt
no,
you because you like it. You like how you feel about yourself. You like the way you look. You know that you're a good person. And I think people put too much emphasis on what people think of them, what people say about them, and they don't go inward enough and focus on the intention of, hey man, I'm a good person just because I have a tattoo.
and it's up to me to say, you know, well, I don't care, go fuck yourself,
Yeah,
or you know what I mean. Well, that's cool. You know what I mean. You know, that's
exactly.
cool. You don't
Don't
have to like them, right? Like
water on a duck's back, man. Just let it roll off and move on because there's so many
I
other.
like them, you know, and that's the thing. Like I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, you know what? Holy fuck. You know, or I look at older pictures of myself with no tattoos on my face and I'm just like, you know, again, holy shit, you know, like would I ever take these away? Would
Yeah,
I, you know, do I ever regret getting these on my head and stuff? And to be 100% honest with you, no, I'm not going to regret it, you know, because I know they were done very well by a very good tattoo artist. Fortunately, he's one of my artists, right? He works at my shop. You know, I work
yeah,
alongside him all the time. He's the one tattooing the rest of my head tomorrow.
yeah,
And you know, again, back to the, you know, being covered in shitty tattoos thing. Like I've got a few tattoos, man, that are fucking really bad that I'm ashamed to walk around with every day, man.
yeah,
And you know, I had a previous shop that I owned, partners with other artists as well. But anyway, one of them, they tried to fix my arm back then, and they didn't finish. And I'm still fucking miserable with it, man. I hate it, and I'm at the point, you've probably seen it on my arm. So it's basically fucking black. There's not a lot of shit going on there,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm gonna end up getting that removed or fucking plowed over again, or don't even give a fuck, because I'm pushing 40 years old, and the older I get, the more they fucking hurt, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, man.
I think that's very common though for artists of that's been in the game as long as you. I've never seen or met an artist that has been doing it as long as you have, aren't covered or have a few bad tattoos. Now that'll
Oh
probably
yeah.
be coming up now, right? Like
Yeah.
I see artists all the time now. You look at them, they barely have any tattoos. They just like to
Dude,
draw.
there's lots of artists, man, that
Not a collect-
don't have a lot of tattoos. For instance, my apprentice, mine and my business partner's apprentice, he's not really an apprentice anymore, working apprentice. Anyhow,
Yeah.
when he started with us, he had tattoos and stuff, and he's into the more American traditional style tattoos. And he had some on his chest and stuff. Nothing crazy. He had nothing on his arms. I don't think he had anything on his arms anyway. And then we took Hellfire to the tattoo convention last year before. This was before COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
And he saw an artist that he really liked from the States. I don't remember the artist's name or anything, but it was a American traditional artist. And he got one on his arm, and I think that was his first one on his arm, if I'm not mistaken. But now he's got fucking, probably 10 of them on his arm. I don't know, right? But
Yeah.
so in my eyes, it's crazy. So in a lot of artists' eyes, actually, I'll say this is if they look at another artist and they don't have a lot of visible tattoos, some of us are kind of like, oh, what the fuck, never trust an artist without any tattoos or visible tattoos, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
If you ask me, just because you don't have any visible tattoos, right, or even any tattoos for that matter, it doesn't make you a shitty tattoo artist, right? It just means that you haven't gone through what we have, pain wise, or sitting wise, time wise, all this other shit, getting the work done. And I honestly think it's actually a smart move, to be honest with you. For these newer artists that are not covered in tattoos, these up and coming artists and stuff, people that are finishing up their apprenticeships. And if they're not covered in tattoos, don't just go out and get the first fucking thing you see. Like I'm a walking fucking billboard for shit like that, man. Like I got bird shit tattooed on my shoulder, for fuck's
You
sake.
told me that. I haven't seen it, but
I do, man. It's pretty fucking jacked now. But I mean, I got some random shit on me. I got a fucking poop emoji on me. I have my old schedule on me. When my old boss used to get mad at me for leaving early for whatever reason. And I was like, fuck it. I made a joke out of it. I made him tattoo my fucking schedule on me. And he was like, so I got a cover up covering another tattoo that is not even covering it. It's not even bigger than the existing tattoo. You know what I mean? So like, if you can control that, leave open like some really good spots and stuff like that, and you can actually start collecting, really good fucking pieces and high quality shit, and support other artists, obviously, right? That you like, they get to do a badass piece on you, and now you're walking around representing that artist, their work, tattoos in general, and it's something to look at, and you can be fucking proud of it, right? And and I'm not saying that every
that's kind of like that fake it till you make it thing, right? Like that's in many different scenarios where there's a lot of people that feel like, oh, to get accepted or to be good at this, I have to be, so they pretend they have something they don't. That's what that sounds like. We're an artist, like, hey, I really love to draw. I want to get into tattooing, and I want to get a certain amount of respect off the start. So they feel like they have to be covered in tattoos. Well, being covered in tattoos isn't going to represent your ability to put a gun in your hand and make something come to life, right?
Well, I mean, just here's an example here, the podcasting, right? You're my first guest. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. It doesn't mean I'm going to suck at it. It doesn't mean I'm going to be really good at it either, right? It's just a fucking hit or miss, and you just got to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I tell my apprentices all the time, right? You just got to push through it.
You got to push through.
You just got to keep going. And if you're going to, not get treated like shit per se, but you're going to be fucking ran through the ringer, man. You got to pay your dues, but obviously not some dirty shit, but don't take it personal. And it's I'm either going to break you or I'm not, and if you break and you're like, fuck this, and you quit, then so be it, right? But if you keep going and you get through it, you're going to finish that apprenticeship. You're going to start at the bottom, and you're going to work your fucking way up, just like anything else,
Yeah. And there's two things in that message. One being that if you want something bad enough, you're never going to quit at it anyway. And two being that anything you start that's new, you're going to fucking suck at. Very few things in your life that you're going to do new, whether anything. that you're just organically going to pick it up. Now, some people do
Yeah.
pick up stuff quickly because they're just meant to do it genetically. They're just talented people at whatever it is. Some people pick up a hockey stick and they're just good at it, right?
Yeah, man.
But anything that you want to do in your life, you're going to suck at it. You're going to look stupid. You have to be willing to be laughed at. And yet that's okay because why would you be good at it? You've never done it before.
You've
Just
never
like you
done
do this
before. That's right.
podcast, like we talked about why I thought it, and we may talk more about that, why I thought it was
Yeah,
important
absolutely.
to do this. And I'm proud of you that you did it because not too many people are willing to make themselves vulnerable, put themselves on the line, be willing to look silly, do something that they're uncomfortable with. But you have to be willing to do those things in anything in life if you want to move ahead, you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely, man.
it's important. It's important.
It is, you know, and actually speaking on all that right now is you know, tattooing it has never failed me, man. And anytime I've ever felt like shit, I've been depressed or been pissed off, I've been whatever, man. Tattooing has never turned its back on me, and I've never, you know, fully turned my back on tattooing. Obviously, you know, I've woken up some mornings and being, you know, for a week or 2 weeks at a time, being like, fuck, you know, like I want to do something else, you know, but at the same time, I know I'll never give up tattooing. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm natural at being an artist, right? And again, when I first started, I sucked. I sucked for the first few years. I sucked fucking, you know, 5 years through. I sucked 10 years through, right? And some artists can look at me and be like, hey man, this guy fucking sucks. I don't like this guy's shit. Cool, man. I don't give a fuck. You know, I still have a strong following and I know what I'm capable of,
Yeah.
you know, and every tattoo is a challenge for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a portrait, you know, it doesn't matter whatever, it can be whatever, you know, and over the last almost 15 years, I've never really known what style I wanted to take on as a tattoo artist, right? Like when I first started, I was doing everything and anything and just didn't give a fuck, you know. I just wanted to make that money, you know, because there's good money in it. And I was like, you know, banging out these fucking little script tattoos, you know, whatever, little Betty Boop tattoos, Tasmanian devils. That was cool back then, you know, but
Yeah.
tribal, you know, shit, it all changes, man.
Do you think that most artists lean towards what they're naturally good at and they call that what I want to do because it comes easy to them, or do you think most people
I'm gonna say
because they like the look of it?
I'm gonna say most established reputable artists. Fuck, I think that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
A lot of artists don't really. I'm not gonna say they don't care about what they do. They're not allergic to money,
Yeah.
right? And they know that they're very versatile. You know, I'm friends with a ton of artists, right? I mean, I'm pretty versatile, but I don't see the point me being a shop owner or whatever, or even being in a shop in general, taking on anything and everything that walks through the door. Again, a guy can come in, or whoever, an individual can come in with a piece of American traditional and say, hey, I want this done. Sure, I can do it. But I've got an artist that basically loves that shit. He's covered in it. You know, he paints that way, he draws that way, he tattoos that way. Why the fuck am I going to be selfish and take that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I want that client, whether I own the shop or if I don't own the shop or whatever. I want people to, you know, walk around proud of their shit. I don't want to walk around being like, look at that fucking guy, look at that shitty tattoo, and laugh at people, because I'm one of those fucking meatheads, right? Walking around with all that shit on you. So, you know, but me, I did anything and everything when I first started tattooing, man, and it got boring for me. And I'm not saying that because my head's big or anything like that. I just didn't want to do that shit anymore. You know, I wanted to pass that stuff along to artists so they can also eat as well. And I was always drawn to the more realistic style tattoos.
Yeah.
Even just looking at other artists, and I just think it's very fascinating, the shit that can be pulled off.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a bunch of you know, ifs and buts and stuff if they last longer than say bold lines and shit. But since I started, you know, being drawn to that style of tattooing on other people, it just made me want to do it even more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, if you look at portraits that I do today compared to portraits I've done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's a big fucking difference, man. I don't want to see half this shit I did fucking 15 years ago, 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
well, I understand that. I understand that,
You
right?
know?
You're looking at what you're capable of. Well, have you ever heard the saying that if you have a thought of something you did in the past and you cringe, it's because you've grown so much, right? So even just as a human, like you could have said something 5 or 10 years ago to somebody that you would never say as a person now. You wouldn't hurt somebody that way, or you wouldn't hurt somebody that way because you've grown so much, or whatever the topic is. But it's the same with your artwork because you've gotten so much better. That's not me anymore. That doesn't represent what my hands and my eyes can do now.
Yeah, man.
but it's bro, it's a stepping stone. It's what built you to where you're at.
Yeah, no, like, dude, one of my closest homies, man, he's got 2 sleeves done by me, and very cool concept. But again, this was done fucking 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And it's just like, I look at them now and I'm like, Jesus Christ, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't do that, and he's totally cool with them. And again, coolest concept ever. And it's about, long story short, it's about shit, like little supervillains and characters and shit that we watched growing up as kids, with the cartoons we watched. And again, if he brought that idea to me nowadays, my brain just starts working. Even just as a regular client coming in, they're talking to me about their tattoos, I'm listening, but at the same time, the other half of my brain, everything's already fucking turning. I'm already putting ideas together in my brain. Right. And I could knock that out of the park in my eyes for something along those lines these days. Right. But then I look at it and I'm just like, fuck, but he loves it.
Yeah.
Which is good, obviously, and he said the same thing. It's a stepping stone, basically, right? Showing my old shit to my new stuff, right?
100%. You can't have one without the other, dude. You can't have one.
No, you're absolutely right.
It's a good thing to look back. I think anybody that's grown as a person is going to look back and be a bit squeamish over mistakes they made or work that they did in the past. I think that's a very normal thing, but you also have to have respect for it too, because you can't be who you are. You just can't be a great person, a great artist, a great entrepreneur, business owner, a great athlete without the fuck ups. You just can't do it.
Well, you learn from your mistakes, right? And that goes for anything, whether it's tattooing or just, regular shit in life. You learn from your mistakes. Right?
The more you're willing to fail, the faster you're going to get to where you're at, because you don't learn from easy times. You don't learn from having stuff handed to you. You don't learn from, like, some of the most talented athletes in the world. They come up with great talent. They burn out quick because they don't have that work ethic of people that failed and failed and fucking failed and failed and failed and got up and kept going and kept trying. And then eventually they have a breakthrough. Well, you carry that work ethic and that work ethic and that good character through everything else in your life, right? So it's important to go through those. Don't try to shortcut stuff. Be willing to make mistakes. Be willing to fuck up in everything you do. Put it on the line. Be vulnerable. Be okay with people laughing at you, because someday you'll be great at whatever it is you're trying to do.
Fuck. I've had people laugh at me for a long time. I don't give a fuck.
Me neither, man.
It's like, I just don't give a shit, right?
You're doing something.
Yeah, obviously, right? And you're bugging somebody, so it is what it is, right?
Yeah, you can't always fly below the radar, man. You got to fly through the fucking radar sometimes.
Oh, man. So anyway, we got off a little bit, not off topic, but we just started talking, and things led to wherever, because we could go on for fucking days about this shit, right? So, but the reason why I'm getting into this podcasting and stuff, right, was, I did wake up one day and decided I wanted to get into a field that necessarily wasn't my expertise. And I'm very interested in, I'm still interested in it to this day, hence why I go to the gym and, I do this stuff. I do it for many reasons. Right. And I am very passionate about it, and maybe it can happen somewhere down the line. And I was explaining all this stuff to you one day when I was at the gym, and then when I was tattooing you and stuff like that. Right. And you basically opened my eyes, and it's crazy, because I didn't really think about it when I was talking to you. I didn't see it until probably until I was trying to sleep, and then I couldn't. So I was up all fucking night, and I just thought about it. Right. And I was like, fuck, the man makes a goddamn point, you basically, long story short, again, told me that I should stick into the field that I'm in, essentially where all my expertise is. And that's tattooing. Right. And again, like I told you, I'm never going to turn my back on tattooing. It's been there for me. I'm here for tattooing. And, you talked to me about the podcast, thinking outside the box, right? Thinking about stuff I can do and stuff. And aside from all this, I also stream on Twitch, right? I'm a big gamer. I'm on Twitch, Blue Waffle. It's I've got a YouTube channel and all that shit. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I had to throw that in there, right? So, but yeah, man. So I do all that shit, and I don't do that stuff to make it big, And if it happened, fucking right, of course I'm gonna embrace it, right?
Yeah.
But even this shit, I'm not going to sit here and do this and try and make it big. I really like this kind of stuff. I do listen to podcasts, right? I do listen to Joe Rogan on Spotify and all that shit, and some comedians and stuff, like, whatever. And I like it, but I've never been one to be, under a spotlight. And, like, again, giving my speech at my homie's wedding there, I was the best man. And, I was like, man, very monotone, reading off a fucking piece of paper. And, I was like, everybody's probably thinking, man, this guy's fucking stupid. This guy needs to have a drink and, loosen up a bit. Right.
Of course. Yeah.
But, you know, again, the more and more I've seen you every day since we've talked about it, stuff, I keep letting you know, like, hey man, yeah, I'm fucking nervous. You know what? You know, I'm nervous to do this, but as we're talking right now, it's more organic for me.
It's getting easier.
Um,
Yeah,
you're obviously, you know, a little bit experienced in this field, right?
yeah,
Again, I'm not live, which is good.
yeah,
So, you know,
of
it
course.
is what it is, right? But honestly, I feel like everything that we've talked about today, I'm not going to have much editing ahead of me, you know, to
No,
be
you
quite
won't.
honest with
You
you.
won't. In your pot, you want it to be as organic as possible. And there's a couple of great things that you would message there about, and make sure people don't get it twisted. Like when we had spoke about what you else you wanted to do, I still think it would be great for you to do that at some point. I
Yeah.
just think that if you're really good at something and you're very educated in a certain facet in business, you should maximize your potential in that field first and cover all grounds and bases
Yeah, man.
before you step outside of it. Once you've maximized your ability for income, residual income, networking, and growth, then you step outside of that. But a lot of people will jump outside of their field thinking that there's a better answer on the other side of the fence, but they don't understand that you're starting from fucking square one again,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to have to build that up, and it's going to take you another decade. It's going to be very difficult, and what you're doing now is going to suffer. So with you, my advice was automatically, as I just seen, all you're doing is tattooing, and
Yeah.
you're not networking. I mean, you have the ability to create different products within tattooing. You have the ability to create clothing lines. You have ability to write books. You could be live streaming your tattooing, and then the podcasting side is what you're doing right now. There's going to be people that watch this podcast and they're going to tune out at 10 minutes, and there's going to be some people that watch this podcast all the way to the end because
Yeah.
they're going to get value from things I'm saying and value from things you're saying. So you're communicating, you're taking people, like, obviously I'll probably be the one of the only normal people that you'll have. When I say normal business people that you'll have on here, more than likely it'll be more gaming and tattooing and stuff like that, because that's what you're into and you want your niche to be what it is. You're going to find other artists that have great value for young artists, for people who are thinking about getting tattooed, and you're just going to simply entertain people, right? So there's a huge amount of value in what you're doing. And then the other part of that is you being uncomfortable and nervous in what you're doing right now as a lesson for everybody else that is nervous and uncomfortable to do something that they know is the right thing for them to do. You're stepping outside your comfort zone. You're doing something that's uncomfortable for you. And I applaud you for that. And that's what people should be doing. If something scares you and makes you uncomfortable, honestly, as cliche as it sounds, run head fucking first into it, man. That's the best advice I could give anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm trying, man. I even had like it was actually two people I think have said it to me now. One was my apprentice and the other one was my trainer. Um, you know, I'm nervous because I care.
Yeah,
You know, and I never really looked at it that way either. And
yeah,
you know, now that they told me that, I think about it, right? But
yeah,
a lot of artists too. I'm not going to speak for all artists. You know, a lot of artists I know that they don't give a shit about people's stories. You know, whether it's a client or whatever, they don't care about their tattoos, their story behind it, and this and that. And I mean, I've gone through that phase too. You know, I've been through that phase where I was fucking big headed, thought I was better than everybody else, blah blah blah. You know, I got knocked down a couple pegs. So that being said, you know, part of this podcast is so I can speak with clients, collectors, you know, whoever, other artists, because I find it fascinating, you know, talking to people, you know, and hearing what their side of the story is. Hey, man, why did you go to this artist for this tattoo? What's the story behind it? And, you know, why'd you come to me for this tattoo?
yeah,
You know, and even talking with other tattoo artists, whether I've worked with them or not, I want to speak to them. You know, I want to, I want to hear their shit, man. I want to hear how they're doing stuff. And, you
yeah,
know, fucking right. I don't care if, you know, who they are. We're all in this together. So I want to hear
yeah.
their aspect on the industry and, you know, or whatever, the history behind their fucking tattoos or whatever, you know? So I think it's just very fascinating hearing other people's stories about everything, you know, and it's cool. It doesn't have to be just about tattoos either. Obviously this podcast
No,
is
no,
going to
of
aim
course.
towards that, but
Yeah,
I like, you know, we just shot the shit about the gym and stuff, man. Like fucking
yeah,
right. I like to hear about that kind of stuff, you know, your life
of course.
journey and shit like that.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's one thing we all have in common, right? Whether you're tattooing, you're opening up businesses like I am, you're an athlete, or you're just a mom trying to be the best mom that you can be, or you're a
yeah,
student struggling to get through school. At the end of the day, we all have that in common of like trying to get better at what we're doing, right? So
yeah.
at the end of the day, we all have that in common. It's just you're doing something different, right? So it's,
I just
I,
find that there's more to it, right? There's more to tattooing than just tattooing, right? And as things go on and develop with just the years going by and you know, quarantine and this whole COVID shit, it's opening up doors as it's closing certain fucking doors and putting restrictions on, you know, certain places in Canada, the States, or wherever the fuck there's lockdown. Man, I got buddies that are getting locked down again for the second time, and
Yeah.
it sucks. But those doors are being closed, but it's also opening doors for other people. And you know, it's you know, when you steered me in that direction, again, my gears started turning too, right? And I started to think, right? And then,
Yeah.
you know, so it's actually fucking cool, man. And I think that that's what I want too, is more than just tattooing,
Of
you know.
course. Yeah.
You know, again, tattooing's awesome, but I'm going to be juggling this and streaming and tattooing and being a dad and,
Yeah.
you know, all this other stuff. It's crazy, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, and I'm
So
excited for you. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the episodes, right? Like, especially getting different artists on and hearing their stories. And you're going to learn a lot too, bro. You're going to speak to some of those people, and they're going to teach you stuff and give you different
yeah,
perceptions, or give you different tattooing ideas or different product ideas. And then at the same time as you're learning, you're providing value to these other young artists, or just people that want to be entertained by tattoo artists, right? Like, I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to be very surprised, as long as you keep the intentions of, I'm just doing it to do it and to communicate,
man.
have great conversations. I think in a year or 2 years from now, you could have something very special with your podcast, not just in networking, but with your following and what you're providing people, right?
Yeah, man. No, I'm super excited, man. So,
Me too.
yeah,
And I'm
man.
proud
Thanks,
of you, dude.
dude.
I'm excited that you did it quick, right?
I did it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like what we talked, it's not much more than 2 weeks ago.
I
And
thought about that actually the other day.
yeah, you moved.
I did. I was like, fuck, man, you know, like Ryan just told me about this shit. He gave me these ideas, and he's like, I actually jumped on it pretty quick,
Really
which is
good.
good. I'm a go-getter, I guess
Yeah,
you could
there
say,
you
right?
That's
So,
how you should be. Anybody that listening, if you have an idea or someone puts something in your mind, don't sit on it. Like, just start. A
yeah,
lot of people, their problem is they don't know. Oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to set it up. Well, you figure that stuff out. As soon as you just
yeah,
move forward and you write it down, you start figuring it out.
dude, I did the same shit with streaming. You
Yeah,
know, and again, I didn't need it. I didn't want to do it to be fucking famous or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not, but you know, I just wanted to do it, and I had to actually invest the time. I had to just fucking do it. I had to invest the money, you know, with the equipment, with the cameras and shit. Obviously, they're more than one purpose, right? Which is good. But now, look, I'm doing it. I'm
yeah,
not famous, but I'm doing it, and I'm happy because that's just what I wanted to do. I thought it would be cool to, you know, jump on Twitch or wherever the fuck you stream, you know, have your buddies fucking log on while they're taking a shit or something. They're on their cell phone.
yeah,
They can go on and watch a game. You can be like, "Hey, dickhead, what's up?" You know, and you're just gaming. You know, I just think it
yeah.
just fascinates me, right? And
Of course.
you know, it is what it is. And I think with this, with tattooing, you were mentioning before, which I have thought about before, and I actually tried it, which was live streaming
Yeah,
tattoos at my
yeah,
shop, right?
yeah,
And obviously, I got to figure out and tweak the internet connection, but I think that would be cool too. But the only problem is there's with the music playing in the background and stuff,
yeah.
right?
You have to
I,
just sound it out, right? Just mute
yeah,
it and put different music. Put like music that you can purchase the rights to. Put it over. You won't
yeah.
get the talking.
Well, my business partner, he's a musician. He's pretty good. He came up with a couple samples for me, even for my Twitch
Cool.
videos and stuff. And
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure he's definitely got no problem with shit like that too, which would help.
yeah.
But it's some more shit down the road that I got to figure out and you know,
You know,
see if it
one
can
thing
happen.
you hear people talk about all the time, like people that I look up to, is a lot of people feel when they're starting to do like stuff like you're doing now, or what you're going to do in the shop with live streaming, is people feel like they have to create, and you need to focus on documenting. Because a lot of people
Mhm.
don't think their life's exciting, but you'd be surprised how many people just want a little peek into it, right? Like,
Dude, everybody's got a story to tell, bro.
exactly, man. Just like what we're talking about. Who would have ever thought that you and I having a conversation would be interesting? But there'll be people that watch this and find it interesting, right? Like there's some value in there. And it's the same thing with stuff that's going on at your shop, documenting some of the tattoos, documenting my cover-ups.
Dude, I never thought I'd be sitting here having a conversation with you, for fuck's sakes, especially on a fucking podcast.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We haven't even known each other that fucking long.
Oh,
And look at that, homies already. That's perfect, right? You know, that's fucking working out and tattoos, man. That's how it happens, bro.
What else is there to like, really, right?
Right? Yeah, boobs.
Yes,
I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's funny because like tattoos, you can strike up almost any conversation as long as the word tattoos in there with anybody. You could fucking, you know, start a conversation, you know. And I remember, I think I actually explained this to you a while back when I first started tattooing years ago. I worked at a shop, Lucky Devil,
Yeah.
and great bunch of guys. you know, I shared a lot of memories with those guys, man. And that's where my career started.
Yeah.
And we'd go out to the bars and shit like that. And, you know, I was single at that point. I had no fucking kids, and it was crazy, man. And they all told me back then, they're like, hey, man, it's like, you know, it's kind of like being a fucking rock star. You got fucking people coming up to you all the time, this, and that. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, next thing you know, I'm at the fucking bars and shit. And again, it's the same thing. It's not necessarily feeling like a rock star, but you got people coming up to you and questioning you about tattoos, you know, and you know, having a bunch of them, they're questioning you and your tattoos, but they
Yeah.
also know you as a local artist, right?
Yeah.
So they're also fucking right up your ass about, you know, everything. You know, when can I book in? And what do you think about this tattoo? And it's like, you know, I'm drinking, I'm not at work. I don't really give a shit right now. But at the same time, you got to try and remain professional and, you know, have a conversation with these guys, drunk or partially drunk anyway.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's fun, man. And like tattoos, man, they bring out conversations in people for sure, man.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's a good piece to talk about, right? And it's
Yeah,
something
man.
that people are interested in getting done too. So
Well, I'm sure you've had quite a few conversations since you started covering your arm at
yeah,
the gym.
buddy, I've had like 30 people at least reach out and ask me about you.
I've
And
got a lot of followers.
yeah, yeah, people
Yeah,
are excited about. There's a lot of people out there that have tattoos they want covered up, right? We're
yeah.
in that. Uh, I think there's a. I think the tattoo, like the tattoo industry in general, has grown a lot in 10 years. But I'm very good at predicting industries and looking at different industries. And I feel like right now, what you're doing, um, like with this podcasting, is very smart, because I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see it quadruple again. Tattooing it's so popular right now, right? It's even popular in the fitness industry now, where
Hmm.
even fitness people are starting to get it. People with nice bodies, getting shaped. Females are getting full sleeves now. Like, it's even feminine to have a full sleeve, and tattoos are so high quality that if you're in the tattoo industry right now, I would focus on my tattoos and getting better, because that's what you love to do. But I would also, try to be looking ahead of the game of what else could I be doing in the industry, um, to obviously grow my network and to prepare to jump
Yeah.
up the wave and ride the wave in and make more financial progress, right?
Well, I thought, you know, over X amount of years of tattooing, but I think within the last 3 years, especially 3 to 4 years, I've changed. Not going to say change my style, but I've had so many other styles of realism that have interested me, and I've always been like, fuck it, I'm just gonna, you know, just try and focus on black and gray, and then, you know, a month later, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna try and focus on color, right? And it's, I think I've tried to do that sometimes to bring in more clientele when I didn't really have to.
Yeah,
You know, I just want to stay steady. I don't want to be busy. I just want to stay steady and just, you know, be the best artist I can be, essentially, right? And bang out every fucking tattoo I do like it's my last one,
yeah.
you know, and you know, try and do a killer job, you know, whether it's black and gray or color or whatever. But that was I thought that would make me more money at one point, but it actually didn't, you know.
No,
And
yeah,
it's
the richest
I mean, I
people,
was busy enough anyway, which was fine, right? So
anybody in any industry, the riches are always in the niches, right? Like, if you can become
yeah.
an expert in one topic that people go to for that, like in the
Mhm.
fitness industry, it's the same thing. Like, you can't just train everybody. You can't train the postpartum mom, the sprinting athlete, the bodybuilder, the power lifter, and the swimmer. Like, you need to pick, like, who are you working with? Who is it that you want to treat? Because you can't, at the end of the day, you can't help everybody, and you may as well become an expert. Just like a heart surgeon or an eye surgeon makes a lot more money than a general practitioner. When you specifically go into one thing, you automatically become the expert of a certain topic. You get better at that topic. You get more
Yeah.
respect and more of a following on that
And
topic.
I think that's where it stopped for me, was actually fuck within the last year, maybe, was after that whole, you know, thing of me not knowing really where the fuck I wanted to go after I thought I did. It
Yeah,
actually stopped, and I just said fuck it, and I just did. I just kept doing what I was just doing, you know, tattooing,
yeah,
and it's working pretty good, you know. And a lot of people like my shit. Some
yeah.
people might not. It might not be their thing, so be it. But I think it's been working out for me so far, and I'm happy with my work. You know, I am my own worst critic, just like every artist, or,
Of
you
course.
know,
Yeah,
anybody that's gonna, you know, do anything. But
yeah.
you know, I can always think that it's gonna get better, and I can do better at this and do better at that. I'm always learning, right? And that's the thing as
You
as an
will
artist.
continue to get better, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure though
yeah.
that I'm pretty sure my tattoo is the best one you've ever done.
Fucking right, buddy. Fucking right,
Yeah,
buddy. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing some more for sure.
yeah, man. I can't wait. December 11th. Stay
Is it?
tuned.
Yeah, December
New
11th.
cover
Yeah.
up coming in. We got
Maybe I'll maybe if you bring that GoPro, we'll do a time lapse of it, and I
yeah,
can post it on YouTube or some shit.
yeah, man. I
But
don't mind. A lot of people need to see that stuff, like to see the ability of a cover up like that, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it'd be good for people to see.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been awesome, man. I can't thank you enough for fucking steering me in this direction of this podcast, man. Because it's
I'm
I'm
honored to be
hoping.
the first person
Yeah,
on there.
yeah, man. You're number
That's-
one for sure. And
Yeah.
like I said, you convinced me to do this. It was your idea that I should be going in this direction, and I just figured that it would be you would be a perfect candidate for number one, right? In episode 1.
I love it, man. And I got many
So-
more ideas for you too. You know that, right? So
Yeah, fucking right. You know I'm gonna be picking your brain.
yeah.
Yeah, I might come back to the gym today anyway.
Right?
I had to duck out early
Tell anybody.
because I was fucking nervous. I had butterflies in my stomach. It almost made me want to poo, for fuck's sakes. That's how
Right?
nervous I was, bro.
Yeah, but this is, you know what, dude? That's a good thing, right? Anybody that's watching too, that's thinking about doing something, that's very normal.
Yeah.
But look at how organic it ended up becoming. So like,
Yeah.
especially because you're talking about something you're interested in. It's not like you're going on here and we're like gonna talk about, pharmaceuticals and about fucking weight loss and about car
Nah,
engines
fuck.
or something you might not know. Like what we're talking about is something. So when you start to interview artists, it's going to be an exciting conversation for you, man. Like it'll be.
I've got a couple fucking bangers, man, coming with some big artist names and stuff. They actually agreed. I reached out on social media and they agreed. They thought it was a really good idea. Next week, I'm not going to say his name, but I'll advertise it later on this week on socials. But he's a super good artist, man, and I looked up to him since the day I met him.
Yeah.
And he's genuinely just a good dude and a great artist. And I'm super stoked to have him on next week for sure. It's going to be awesome. And then, I've just got to go through the list. I didn't want to, overdo it and get like, say 50 people to agree. And then, the 40th person I ask is going to be like, hey, what the fuck happened to this podcast? They're like, let me get through this shit. So I'm just going to take on like a handful of people to agree to it. And then just arrange the dates that works
You can
out.
say
with them
2 or
and me.
3 ahead of yourself. You're ahead of the game, right?
Yeah.
Couple in the bag kind of thing. If something happens where someone cancels, at least you got something to post that week and you're not overwhelmed. It's not too much and it's still organic for you and it's good content. It's good for the other artists too. The ones you're interviewing, because you're introducing, like it's good for their growth, right? Their social media,
Yeah, absolutely.
and all that stuff. So you're giving them a gift too, right? It's not just them like, yeah, I'll do your podcast. It's like you're also introducing them to all your following as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, it's been awesome. It's been a good chat. And I'll probably see you at the gym later on. If not, I'll definitely see you
Thank you
tomorrow.
so
And I'm
much.
getting my head tattooed tomorrow. So I'm
There you
fucking
go.
nervous for that. I'm shitting my pants.
Fucking document that, bro. People want to see the head tattoo.
No, buddy, it's just going to be a big bleep through everything because I'm going to be fucking swearing through the whole thing. Dude, I'm a big bitch when I get tattooed, man. Yeah, the fucking head hurts too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sucks.
I don't know.
All right, homie.
Okay, bro. I'll see you
Good.
soon.
All right, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.